Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised.
Although we do have a small hiccup in that theory. Generally, when people report seeing a hellhound, is furry. It is big. It's for anybody who's not anywhere near me and they don't see. There's a commercial for a place called the Great Wolf Lodge, and in the commercial, everybody's jumping on these giant wolves, riding them, right? Essentially, which would be freaking spectacular. But you always see these depictions of a hellhound they're not mangy. They don't have the rough skin. They are full-fledged. They are thick. They are healthy. They are buttocks. Excuse you. I told you there was going to be something about my butt.
Yeah, but hellhounds are mainly, from what they've been reported, looking like Rottweilers.
See, I've always heard the ones that are reported that are more like a black wolf. They've got the shaggier fur.
I've heard reports on the shaggier fur.
Because I've heard both.
I've heard a report where they've seen a hellhound as what is the Taco Bell dog? A Chihuahua?
A Keto Taco Bell. Yeah, the Chihuahua.
Yeah, I've heard reports of hellhounds looking like a Chihuahua.
Really?
Yes.
They do act like hellhounds. Those things are evil. Do you believe at all in the Latin American version, the more reptilian? It looks like almost like a lizard man.
I do believe that one. And it's mainly because there's stories of a lizard person or a lizard man living in the Ohio River, where he comes up onto the land on both sides of the river and attacks people's cars, attacks cats, dogs, wildlife, and then drags them back. And they make the lizard man sound almost like what the, say, Mexican version of the Chupacabra look like. But also at the same time, they make the Ohio lizard man sound like a alligator that can walk on two legs.
Oh, but it has a tail, right?
Yes.
Does it have fangs? Or is it just like a big mouthful of teeth?
Some state that it has fangs. Some state that it has like a mouth like an alligator with a mouth full of teeth.
Oh, by the way, our spirits also say it's green.
I know the one the El Chupacabra in, say, Mexico, they've stated green, but also tan. But I know the Ohio lizard man is green.
But I know a lot of people believe that Chupacabra, now granted, I don't know if they mean both versions or primarily the Latin America or Brazilian version, that they might be alien. What are your thoughts on that one? Just tell me about it. Tell us about it, Cody.
To be fair, if you look into the alien aspects of it, they do state that there are 17 to 8. What is this?
I say, it goes, tell me about it. And then you start talking, it goes, you're welcome. Like it was getting you to talk to me about it. It was his fault. It's, oh, you're welcome. Jeez.
But yeah, if you go with the alien aspects of it, they do state that there's, I think, 17 to 22 different types of alien, with about 7
this is a
to
podcast, not a radio.
Yeah, I'd say 7 to 9 of them being a reptilian type.
Yeah.
So it definitely could honestly be just aliens coming down, visiting, grabbing wildlife. Like we've heard multiple reports, but instead of them taking the bodies up into the ship, these ones are just landing on Earth and having a full-on feast and then leaving or going wherever they go.
See, I like that. If we think about it, as far as the theory goes, if the more reptilian chupacabras are potentially alien-based creatures or extraterrestrials. And the dogs are more, if they do exist, they're more actual terrestrial creatures that could explain why, if these evidence of these creatures are being found and taxidermized or DNA spliced or whatever, they're just, that's why they're getting found and the reptilian ones aren't, because the reptilian ones are probably smart, just like every other alien that can't get caught, right? Nobody can catch it because they're freaking smart. Mistress.
I was
But
going to
the dog
say,
one,
technically, Area 51 proves that we have caught aliens.
but I'm just saying maybe the chupacabra, like the reptilian one, maybe because they have that higher intelligence, that's why theirs aren't captive. But the dog version, because it's more, it's an actual just animal that's not been discovered yet, kind of, it doesn't have, because a canine doesn't generally have the same intelligence of like an adult human, right? So
Yeah.
maybe that's why there's some of one and some of the others. Maybe it is two things called the same thing. One is just a terrestrial cryptid that's just an animal that's not been discovered. And the other one is an extraterrestrial that's coming from somewhere else and has that higher intelligence level. And that's why they're able to evade a little easier. Does that make sense?
I can throw this one at you. It could be like how us humans and dogs are, where
See, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
we basically made a wolf, whatever you want to call a wild dog, to where we could bring them into our home and depend on us, where the alien chupacabra brought the canines in to feed, and they got loose to where they're running around just decimating wildlife as well.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm piggybacking you here. We're gonna go off a little bit different road, but same road, same town, different road. What if a lot of times these extraterrestrials are watching us to see how we react, what we do, they test us, they're so interested in how we function, right? If they see us and man's best friends, what if they tried to capture just regular coyotes or dogs, because maybe they don't know the difference? I don't know. But whatever the case may be, they capture these and they're trying to domesticate them for their purposes. And because of the fact of what they use in their spaceships, and there's usually a lot of radiation involved. And what happens when you get radiated? Your hair falls out. So what if they're just they're trying to capture these dogs, trying to make them pets. The radiation makes their hair fall out. They get weird. And it's like when you train a dog a certain way, if you walk around the block, say you walk out same thing every day, the dog's going to follow exactly what you're doing every day. If they're eating goat the same way, then maybe the dogs follow, so to speak. I don't know why they'd be running around rampant. Maybe they do get out. You're right. Maybe they get out and they're just like, oh, we didn't put Bobby on a leash, and there he goes. I mean, I love how my alien dog's name is Bobby.
I can see that one, just because you let your dog out the front door, forget the leash, and you're chasing after them until they decide they need to stop and use the restroom.
Or you don't latch the door and they get out and they take off. Or they jump a fence. Or there's all kinds of ways for them to get out. That I knew, you know what? I really like that theory. I like that theory of maybe the reptilian chupacabras are just extraterrestrials, and the doggy chupacabras are their attempt to domesticate a dog and have that. Because a lot of times, too, when you see or hear any like interactions with extraterrestrials, it's not like they have a lot of interpersonal relationships, so to speak, or they're very, no, I'm not frightened. Or maybe they just are socially awkward or non existent and all of that. You know what I mean? So maybe it's, oh, I want to have that. So if it's working for these guys, I'm going to try it. Because maybe they want to try to figure out, what is it? Like, why are these humans so attached to these four-legged fur balls? we got to get in on that, or we got to figure it out. And it's not something that you can test, right? You can't do a blood test to see why do you like dogs or anything like that. Or why does this dog make this person feel better? Or why does this dog go with this person because he's missing a leg? Or I feel like there's something there. And because you can't test for it, maybe they're trying to bring them in to see if they can figure out how to create that bond. Because if they create that bond with an animal, that's a lot easier to manipulate and handle, then maybe it would help them get those interpersonal skills with maybe us. I love how my aliens are so friendly in this situation. Who knows? But I think the last question that I had was, but I think we addressed it though. But what do you think the odds are that it's all just a hoax?
It's
Like,
possible.
is it one of those situations? It's like really unlikely, or it's there's not enough evidence for it to be less likely to be a hoax. It's probably a hoax. Do you stand either further away or closer to the fact that it could be a hoax?
I want to say I stand farther away
Okay.
because, like you said, there was countless animals in one event where they lost their lives. And if it was a farmer that decided, hey, you know what? I want to make money. Let me murder all of my livestock to try and get famous. I don't really see that.
You're like, "Ugh, disgusting."
Yeah, I don't see a farmer pretty much.
But okay, we're going to wait. There are some situations where, like before we knew what mad cow disease was, right? And
Mm,
then mad cow disease spread to an entire herd. And then literally they would just all just drop dead. And it was just like everywhere. And then there's also a thing they had, I want to say it was penguins. I think it was penguins. And somebody stumbled across, it just looks like thousands of penguins just washed up dead on the shore, like all at once, just boom. And it's just covered in dead penguins. And nobody could figure out what happened. What if it was a disease or something that got into the herd or something?
that is possible. I wasn't really thinking diseases,
I was just
but
trying to
then
think
it
of,
also,
it's not easy.
but I also,
Moron.
it also doesn't cover the like 2 bite marks on the neck and on the stomach, or the 3, depending on which one they're looking at.
I just like to play skeptic Sammy here. Granted, let's just consider, because they were also not completely drained, which also rules out our vampire animal theory because there's still blood in these guys. But what if it was a situation where it was the carcasses were there because they got sick, and then other animals came to try to feed on it and got sick? What if they were poisoned and they bit into them, but they didn't rip them apart, but they still got the poison or whatever was wrong and died? I don't know.
Okay, I could feed off of what you were saying, because there are special type of insects that could bury themselves in, say, the neck area or the stomach area to feed, to where they just entered in those holes to eat
Lay eggs or
whatever.
something.
Yeah, lay eggs and eat the internal organs and all that.
Because yeah, that makes sense on especially the ones that, because remember we had a batch of them that had 2 neck marks and 2 belly marks. Then we had some that had just 3 belly marks and no neck marks. And that would make sense if something was trying to burrow in and get to those nice, fleshy, yummy, gushy stuff.
I started thinking about it. There's a lot of fat normally in the stomach area for animals. So I could see where the insects or say mouse would want to get into a warmer spot of the body and burrow in there and be happy because there's food there that they could eat to survive, let alone the fat that would keep them warm if by chance, say Utah gets cold at night or Arizona gets cold at night,
Oh,
to
yeah.
where they were just buried in to where they could stay warm while the
Do they have
carcass
snakes?
gets hard. Snakes?
Probably snakes. Snakes are the ones that they can't heat or cool themselves off, right? So if they want to be warm, they've got to get somewhere warm.
Oh yeah, I know Arizona and
I was just
Utah
thinking of
both
something
have
that would make a
snakes.
hole and burrow.
Snakes,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
spiders.
So I just got a life alert from my ghost. It goes, "Look for me. Help. I fell. I've fallen and can't get up." I was like, "Oh my God." But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just like to look at all areas. Stuff I'm like, I might not believe it, but I'll bring it up anyway, because what the hell? That's what I have on Chupacabra. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, because I feel like we've covered almost the full topic of it, other than, yeah, we've pretty much covered it all.
I do want to say for everybody out there listening, definitely, I think it's on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in something like Chupacabra caught on dash cam or something. Dick.
I was going to say I got on Google and just typed in Chupacabra video, and it brought me up to a channel 7 view where they had it was like right off the road, Highway 7 or something like that, where you see the creature just like running into the woods.
Oh no, this one's the guys, the cam's behind it. He's like following it down the road. And it's like grassy. It's like on a dirt road. And it's got like a little tiny little baby hill next to it. And I think that's the one that's from the police cam.
Okay.
But seriously, go check that one out.
Yeah, the one that I saw just said it was like, I didn't watch it. I was reading real quick, but it was saying it was like right off the highway and they had like tall grass, and all is it like run or it like ran and then dipped into the grass, and they slowed it down to where you could see what it physically looked like.
Okay, yeah. So again, that's like the slow down. So does it turn or anything with it?
Yeah, you see his head like turn a little bit, but it's like gray, but it looks like the dog version that the United States claims.
Does it give you like a good like profile and straight on view?
No, I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
Yep, here it is. Possible Chupacabra sighting caught on camera in Houston, Texas. Of course, it's not going to let me share it.
Okay, I'm Googling it too. See, all these just look like dogs.
It's because they know, like you said, the reptile version of it is probably a lot smarter than the canine.
Yeah.
But then again, the canines could just be like how coyotes are, where they're roaming 24 hours a day, basically. Oh, you found it?
Yeah, that is clear. I was thinking it was going to be like something like dark or something.
Nah, it was like middle of the day.
This is definitely no Bigfoot video. This one you can actually see. Dear God, this ad's like a fucking minute long. Are you kidding me?
Let's put it this way. I had to get into 22 seconds into the video.
Oh.
Now I'm 30 seconds into the video, and it's just basically them telling you like what a Chupacabra is.
Google Chupacabra sighting police dash cam. And there's one on top of this Chupacabra caught on tape. Yeah, it's the middle of the day. It's just running down this dirt road. But to me, it just looks like a damn dog.
Oh, I've seen this one.
Yeah. See, that one just looks like a dog to me. Device. Yes, we're on our devices.
Yeah. That one, I believe, is they actually caught that dog like a couple weeks later and stated it was just a coyote with mange.
Okay, because that's what I'm saying. I was like, it just looks like a freaking dog. But yeah, so definitely go out there, see what you guys can find on it. I'm always interested as to see what options are out there. It'd be nice if we could catch. I prefer definitely by far the reptilian one. I'd love to get our hands on a specimen of that. That'd be great to get some research and stuff on. Then it is a little more weird and strange, just like a dog. It just doesn't seem like it's very spooky. But I do really like the idea of the extraterrestrial chupacabras getting like a alien instead of like ditching theirs on us. A lot of people think Bigfoot is getting their own and being like, hey, maybe we could domesticate this as well and see. And you never know.
Yeah, I can see that one.
Before we wrap this up, I do just want to ask you, this is not about the pod, it's about the pod, but not the topic. I know that you filled out the thing a while back before we recorded. I don't know if your 3D business information was on the form. I don't know if you can go back and edit the form so I can make sure that everybody can see that too. I don't want to leave that out. I want to make sure that they can access it.
Right now, I am working on street signs
Okay.
that are like, I think my measurements are like 9 inches by 3 or 4, like 4 inches tall, 9
Mhm.
inches wide. And it's just say Romance Avenue or Romance Road. I know for Christmas I was making the Grinch Drive or something like that, but I never got them posted yet because I'm trying to get like good pictures
Yeah.
of them before I start trying to print them up, because I don't want to just take pictures of what my computer looks like. I want to show that people like what they
What the end
physically look.
outcome. Yeah. Because sometimes when you print it, it does come out a little different.
Yeah.
Say, so what sucks a little bit for me, I don't know how this is going to work. If I have an item, because everything I make is literally all custom, so I'm not really going to probably have a lot of stuff that's like a repeat option. When it sells, does it automatically take the listing down?
Yes, because you put an inventory account of what you have. So if you just limit it to one, for just say you made a lamp with deer antlers and you only had the one.
Okay, I'm sending you exactly what I just made. And that's really funny that you came up with that particular one. Hold on, let me find you.
I was going to say I only came up with that because I have deer antlers laying around the house. Well, somewhere in the house.
Do you use them for anything?
Yeah, more or less decor around the house.
Oh, okay. Because I say if you don't need them, I have been hunting for some. No pun intended.
But
Right.
yeah, no, like in my mind,
Okay,
I've
I
been
just
wanting to
sent
make
you what
like
I
a
just
table.
made. It's funny that you said that.
But yeah, no, like all my stuff, it's made to order. So I don't
Okay.
start printing anything till that person has their order in. So then it's like, I'll print it and
How do
whatever
you do that
color
with
they want.
inventory?
I just mark everything at 999, and then I just have a list of colors. So then when they pick the color, I can just put it on the printer, print it out, wrap it up, throw it in the box, and get it shipped out.
It goes plausible. Can you hear him?
Oh, I can hear it.
No, I think I'm supposed to be listening to you very closely right now. Yes, I can hear him.
I love
He's
that.
like, makes sense. Are you listening to him? I'm like, oh, gotcha. Yes, I am.
That is awesome.
Thanks. And that was just literally, that was a skull from a doe that my dad killed last year. And I just literally walked by and saw that it was in my mom's yard. And then the lantern, it used to have a battery operated candle in it. And I've had it on my table. And I was like, you know what? And so I just unscrewed the candle, took the candle out, shoved the head in, and I made these, it was like 4 years ago. I made these things that's behind me. Here. I drank a bunch of wine and I got these corks with lights so I could light up my bottles, and they're really pretty. And I was like, oh yeah, I've got these lights right here that would be perfect. So I like strung them up through it. And at the bottom, because I was like, if you got to replace the batteries, you don't have to take the whole damn thing apart, right? There's a hole in the bottom of that lantern, and you can pull the light switches, turn them off and on, and then put them back in. So it's easy to get them out, turn them off, and then replace the batteries. And then those are just flowers that I just had, like fake flowers that were just randomly in my house. And I was like, oh, let's put these. I was literally just walking around my house, oh, and then bam. So I was like, it works. I'm not singing to you right now. You're going to have to wait. Sorry.
I will say that the logo on my shop is a P, and then you'll have like a death head moth like off to the side of it,
That's awesome.
and which it seems like it's been like something I've been needing to put, and it's only because I've 3D printed me a death headed moth. I have a tattoo of a death head moth on my
See, that's so
arm
cool.
on a lantern that basically just says, surround yourself with those who light your path. Sorry, I was trying to
Ooh,
read
I
it upside
like
down
it.
because I couldn't remember what it said.
Yeah, I like it. Because that's the thing. I'm still trying to come up with a name that I like. I get all these names that I love, and then I'm like, well, I don't want anything that's going to be hard to spell, right? Because I don't want people to spell it wrong and not find me. So I really like Sable Siren. And I'm like, that was pretty easy. But I really like the Wicked Wraith because I do what technically there's I don't know if you call it a genre, like a style. It's called wildcrafts because I make things out of things that I find outside, hence the bones and stuff like that. And I do things. I've got a wind chime that I'm so frustrated because I need to get it done, but I can't find. I don't want to put yarn on it. I want to use something natural, like a vine, to hang it and to use because it's a bone. I want to have a bone at the top, maybe two, and then I have these like Nordic trees and different crystals that I drilled holes in. So you can hang them on there. It's got like black salt, so it's very protective and energy and all that stuff. It's very witchy craft. And I just can't find anything that I can use that is a vine or something that is natural but doesn't crack when it dries. So it's just frustrating because I'm like, I've got all these pieces that I need to put together. I just haven't found the right conduit to put together with. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say for my 3D business, I wasn't really wanting to use like my last name because I know it's hard to spell, let alone say. But my mom pretty much named it because she started doing her own like little kitchen cooking stuff.
Mhm.
And then we'd go to the flea market, and she was making really good money. And she knew I was getting frustrated because my sales were starting to slow down because all my friends saw that I was like at my limit on what I could make and
Yeah.
what I could get off of like the internet. And they were like, this is nice, but what about this or what about that? So then I was printing out all this stuff, and I think I have like 2 boxes just full of like little fidget spinners or
Yeah.
cell phone holders or just random creatures. Like I probably have 10 caterpillars in that are all different colors. They all are very unique,
Yeah.
but nobody
And
wants them.
well, that's the thing so this is what I find so fascinating because there's people like you and there's people like me. Not that it's a bad thing. So people like you, they create something from nothing. And to me, that is fascinating because I struggle with that concept. And then, like, what I do is I look at something or I look at all this random stuff, but I see what it is, but I see what it's, and I don't know how to explain it other than it literally, I like when I buy things, yes, I hear it. Which is funny because it just says, can you hear it? And my thing is I create it based on what calls to me, right? So I could be walking around somewhere and it's, oh, I'm like, I need to buy whatever reason, I need to get this. And then I'll look at it and it's every piece has its own personality, I guess you could say. And just this aesthetic. And I see all these parts and I could arrange them all these different ways, but then it's like something will click. I'll be thinking of what I could do with it. And then something clicks like it's like, yes, I want to be made this way, which is why I like using like the stuff like with the bones and things. The furniture's different, but they each have their own thing. But I feel like when I make something with these bones, it's almost like it's almost like you could hear it, you could feel it, which is weird. But when you consider the weird stuff that I can do, it makes more sense. But I can almost feel like what it wants to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it could be a lamp or it could be this or it could be that. And I have all these bones and one bone, I'm like, oh, nope, this one doesn't go with this. It would be better like this or it would be better like that. And I like to just take things that I see and turn them that are older. People don't want them because they're old styles and all of that. And I like to breathe life into them, bring them back to life and resuscitate them and give them a new purpose. And I like doing that. And I've always wished that I could just do what you do and just create something from nothing. But there's a gap. It's like my creativity comes from the energy of whatever items I'm working with. So I can't, as much as I would love to be able to create something from nothing that's awesome, there's no energy there from the something. the nothing is nothing. So I've always struggled with that, but I've always been so fascinated. I know somebody else who has a 3D printer and they make things and I'm like, how do you even think about this? I can't wrap my mind around it. And then they look at what I make and they're like, I would have never in a million years put that together.
Yeah,
I
I was
literally
gonna
had somebody
say,
watch me put the lantern together and they were literally just watching me. They're like, I would have never thought to, and it's all just stuff that's here. It's been here. I'm like, I
yeah, I was gonna say for me, it's more or less like, all right, I'll use my street sign for an example. I had to sit down. I like kept drawing and drawing because the wife saw somebody else make them. And I was like, all right, cool. I could easily just pay, I think for all of his prints to where I could turn around and sell. I had to spend like
know.
$50 on 22 pieces that I could just turn around and sell. But at the same time, it has his naming on it.
Yeah.
Where for me, I don't put my mark on it, anything, because for one, I don't,
I can see you.
I don't sit there and think about how I can put my mark on stuff. I just
So
sit there, draw everything out, measure what I need to, and then basic trial and error.
what I think is interesting is I want to come up with, can you do stamps? Can you like make a stamp?
Yeah.
Okay. I want a stamp for the stuff that I make so that I can somewhere on it, on every piece that I make, there's a symbol to know that it's mine. Because not just to know that it's mine, like from a territorial standpoint, but because I am using my energy and stuff like that to create these things, and it's very like mystical and just witchy and all of that. And because my energy goes into so much stuff, I feel like a piece of me goes into it, right? So I want to leave a part of me on it. So that skull, nobody would know because if you look at it, it's even if you zoom in and look at everything, there's a piece of me on there that I intentionally marked on there and no one will know which one's mine. Did. Yes, it goes, yep, you did. And it's just something that I want to make a stamp. And it's a symbol that I have no idea where it came from. I literally have been doodling this since I could draw anything, since I was able to use a pencil. I would just I don't know why, but it was like something about it. It's like a part of me, something that's instilled in me from another, I don't know whether it be another life or something like that. And I would doodle it. And when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, everything, it's a very natural, even when I have to focus really hard when I'm doing my runes and stuff, because some of them, even if I try not to make it, I still end up making it. Even if I don't mean to, it just happens. So there's a piece of me that is tied to the symbol. And I'm not sure why. I've not been able to really find anything else that is exactly it. I've found things that are close, but it's something that makes it unique to me. So then you would always know that it's one of my pieces, and it still gives me that my energy is out and it becomes a part of it, and it like goes off into the world. Um, it's just something that without writing my name on it, but still mark my territory. But I don't want to use it as marking my territory. It's just literally because you got to think about it. If a rune only works when you write it, then essentially, as I'm writing this, I am putting part of me into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just cool. But I'm like, I don't know how to make a stamp. I was like, and that's the only thing I could think of because I was like, even if it's my furniture, no one will think anything about like if I put a stamp somewhere where you don't see a little hidden treasure. Jeeps do that when you make a Jeep. They have little animals and stuff, whatever. Like inside the it's built into the Jeep and you don't know you have to find it. It's like that. I can just stamp it so it's like a part of me is with it and it goes off into the world. Rosary beads. I don't have rosary beads.
I don't have them.
I've got turquoise beads on my puppy. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I got to go figure out what the hell we're doing for dinner and what's up with that. But yes, everybody, again, this is Cody. It says I'm leaving. They're like, oh, we're done. I'm out. From Paranormally Cryptid and is it Polos?
Polos.
Polos. But I keep wanting to do that. And then I want to call you Codyopolis. But I will have all of his links in the description. So I'm always fascinated with 3D stuff. Go check out what he makes. Get you some goodies. Get you some goodies for somebody else. Whatever you got to do. And even though the pod is on a little bit of a pause, episodes are still out there. So go check them out. Don't forget to like and share and all of that. Until next time, everybody, we'll see ya. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and give the show a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show and allows people to find us more easily. Also, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and subscribe to any of the tiers. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shoutouts on the pod, ad-free episodes, access to the private Discord server, quarterly appreciation gifts, and a chance to be on the show. Not to mention video versions of the episode. Before you go, don't forget to click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some self-designed merch by me, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please send them to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experiences on a listener episode. Just make sure that you specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show and let me know whether or not you would like your real name read or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you guys all again so much for your support. Until next time, my friends. See ya. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and give the show a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show and allows people to find us more easily. Also, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and subscribe to any of the tiers. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shoutouts on the pod, ad-free episodes, access to the private Discord server, quarterly appreciation gifts, and a chance to be on the show. Not to mention video versions of the episode. Before you go, don't forget to click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some self-designed merch by me, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please send them to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experiences on a listener episode. Just make sure that you specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show and let me know whether or not you would like your real name read or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you guys all again so much for your support. Until next time, my friends. See ya.